የተወደዳችሁ የካቶሊክ ቲቪ ተመልካቾቻችን ከብፁዕ አቡነ አንቷን ካሚሌሪ ጋር በዚህ በመድኃኔዓለም ካቶሊክ ቤተክርስቲያን የእሳቸው የሽኝት የቅዳሴ ፕሮግራም ተካሂዶ ነበር እና እሳቸው መልእክት አስተላልፈዋል። ይህንን መልእክት ደግሞ በቤተክርስቲያን በተልዕኮ ላይ በተሰኘው ፕሮግራማችን እሳቸው የሰጡትን ንግግር እንድታዳምጡ እንጋብዛችኋለን።
So the time has come to leave Ethiopia. You know, as such, as missionaries, as apostles, as messengers of the good news, there is never an end to our mission. It's a mission which is entrusted to us for our life, till the end of our lives. And we are ambassadors of this good news of the gospel. It has been entrusted to us all to proclaim. You know that in the Bible the word for ambassador and the word for angel is the same word, malak. Even in Amharic, I think it is similar, and for angel at least. It means angel or ambassador. Because they are both sent. They are both sent in order to carry a message. And in our case, this message is the good news. So our mission never ends. But the form of our mission, where we carry out our mission, that could change. And for me, that moment has come. I have been in Ethiopia, as I said at the beginning of the Mass, for 4 years and 7 months. I arrived at the end of 2019 in December, and now I am about to leave the country. 4 years and 7 months is not long enough. I would have loved to stay longer, much longer, because I have felt at home in this place, in Ethiopia. Not just because maybe we both, myself and Ethiopia, share a language which is of Semitic roots. So there are words, expressions that I can even understand from what I hear. And I have been fortunate enough at least to learn to recognize the letters and read the alphabet, read the words, even though I can't speak Amharic, which is one of my regrets from the time that I have spent here. But it is not long enough because there is so much to do. There is so much of a journey to walk together. And I have always found cooperation, collaboration, friendship, welcome, acceptance, ever since I arrived here, from the very first moment, which is why I feel at home in this country. But the temptation is to say that I haven't finished what I have started. But when do you finish what you have started? And even then, is it you who have started? Or is it God working through you who has started what you have done? So I think it is good from the perspective of faith to leave things in the hands of God and to be content with the efforts that you have expended in order to carry out your mission, to be satisfied with the results, whether they are few or many, that you have achieved, and move on. Move on with a sense of thanksgiving. Move on with a sense of the providence that you have been blessed with during this time. You know, the Pope Francis, whom I represent here in Ethiopia, loves to repeat that time is greater than space. He has mentioned it in some of his major documents, like Lumen Fidei, which was his first encyclical, Laudato Si, Amoris Laetitia, and he's spoken about it even on other occasions. What does he mean by this? What he means is that we must not focus on occupying spaces, because that becomes an exercise in power, but rather on starting processes that last in time. So we must initiate those processes and then leave it up to God to lead those processes to the results that He desires, that He wills. And this requires patience. It requires waiting. You know, patience is a virtue, and it is something that I have admired here in Ethiopia, in many people. You know, as you drive along the roads and you see the long queues of people waiting on the bus to arrive, people waiting patiently, silently, calmly, no panic, no nervousness at all, which would be different, I think, in some of the places that, at least where we come from, in another part of the world, you know. Patience is important because it means that we trust God with taking care of what we do and leading it to its results, to its natural end. And it's been a privilege to serve here in Ethiopia. And I don't mean this by way of a cliche. You know, you say that just to say something. I really mean it. I really mean it. First of all, it's a privilege that comes from the awareness of whom I represent here, of what I represent in the country. I am at the service of the gospel. And as a pastor, as a priest, this is what I have tried to do. I am at the service of the church, and loyalty to the church is very important. Love for the church is important. I am at the service of the Apostolic See, of the Holy Father. It was He who sent me here, and it was He who sent me here in order to represent Him, to convey His care, His attention, His love for all people in Ethiopia and for the church in Ethiopia. And the Holy Father is the principle of unity in the church, unity in charity. And this is what has been one of my main priorities as I went about my work here in the country. As I traveled around, I thank God because I have been, all over the country. I have visited all the eparchies, all the vicariates and prefecture. I have visited all the regions of the country. But my main concern and my main aim was to express this charism of the Holy Father to be He who guarantees the unity in charity of the church, of the universal church first of all, and of the church anywhere in the world, including Ethiopia. The unity of the different expressions within the church. Here in Ethiopia we have the fortune of having both the Oriental Church and the Latin Church, which together make the church in Ethiopia so beautiful. The unity of the church in Ethiopia with the universal church, and the unity within the church in Ethiopia itself. This is important because as Christians we know what was Christ's prayer before he gave himself up in sacrifice on the cross. May they be one. And for us, this is of supreme importance. We have to accept each other as brothers and sisters, no matter what the differences are among us, and express this charity in our communion, in our unity. But even as a diplomat, I am at the service of peace, which is what the Holy See is at the service of humanity, at the service of the dignity of every human person, which we are obliged to defend, to promote, to guarantee. So this is why I feel so privileged to have worked here in Ethiopia representing the Holy See. But I'm also privileged for having served Ethiopia, for having served the country, for having served its people, its church, the church in the country. And I leave Ethiopia much richer than I was when I arrived here. You know, the challenge when you arrive in a country is to try and immerse yourself in the reality of the country, in the life of its people. And I think this is what we all have an experience of, all those of us who came from outside into the country. You know, we try to observe and reflect with the eyes and the mind of somebody who is part and parcel of this society, part and parcel of this church, trying to experience it not as an outsider, as we are, but also as part of this family which has adopted us. And as I said, I've traveled the length and the breadth of this country, in spite of some serious challenges that there have been during these 4 years and 7 months that I've been here, starting with COVID. I arrived just a couple of months, 3 months before COVID, and then COVID struck. And there have been other challenges which have, you know, made our work maybe less easy, but more gratifying, more satisfying. And everywhere I have been, I've been welcomed by an exceptional hospitality and spontaneity by everyone, by the elders, by the youth, by the children, by the priests, by the religious, by the bishops, whom I am very grateful to, by lay people. And for me, it was a beautiful experience because I realized that that welcome, that acceptance that they are giving me is not directed as much towards me personally, but it is because of what I represent, of whom I represent. As we have said, I represent the Holy Father, and the Holy Father has a message for everybody, and it's a message of mercy, it's a message of compassion. It's a good news because it gives peace, it gives tranquility, notwithstanding the circumstances that we go through. And I think when you make this experience of serving a country, serving a people, serving a church which is different from what you are accustomed to, perhaps. Rather than trying to change things, you must try to attune your mind, your attitude to them, and accept their beauty, accept the novelty that they represent. Wherever you go, whatever you do here, the food is different and you enjoy it. And you partake of it wherever you go, whatever they offer you. The music that is different from the one that you are accustomed to, and even there, you enjoy it. The places that you visit, sometimes there are the comforts that you are accustomed to, at times there aren't. So you just adapt. You just adapt to the place that you are in. I have visited people in situations of joy, of celebration, but I have also visited people who were suffering because of illness, suffering because they were in prison, suffering because of the situation that they were going through. I am grateful for having been able to immerse myself in this reality and be able to feel what people feel, to understand the way they think, to understand their aspirations, what they desire, what they want for their families, for their children, for their society. And at the end of the day, you come to realize that, yes, you have something to contribute towards this. You can't solve the problems. It's not up to you to do that. But you can give advice from your experience, from your perspective. You can help, you can assist, even in a very concrete and tangible manner. And you just walk the road. You just walk the road with them. Something which is so dear, as you know, to our Pope, to His Holiness Pope Francis, and he speaks of synodality, of walking together. And as a diplomat, I feel even more privileged to have served in this country and in this city, because it is one of the busiest diplomatic capitals in the world. Really, when you are in Addis Ababa, you are in a microcosm of the world stage. You meet so many diplomats in their diversity, in the diversity of the countries that they represent. And you share opinions, you share viewpoints, perspectives, which enrich you, which allow you to understand better what is happening on a global scale, and also what is happening on a regional or continental level, which is why Addis Ababa is so important also as the seat of the African Union. As a priest, I have been struck by the deep and genuine sense of the spiritual that the Ethiopian people have. Everywhere you go and they realize that you're a priest, you are shown respect because you remind them of something which is otherworldly, something which is transcendent. People respect the cross. The cross is so important to Maskell. For them to be blessed by the cross is something that nothing can supersede. It is a guarantee of the protection of God, of the love of God. Not because we are worthy of that blessing, but because we know that God, despite our failings, is ready to assist us, to help us with His strength, with His power. In fact, this is one of the things that has been most impactful for me ever since I arrived here. That wherever you go, people ask for your blessing. And I was very willing to give my blessing because I understand how much it means for people. But you see the depth of their faith. And this is part of the patrimony of this country, something which has been handed down from generation to generation, and God willing will continue to be handed down to the future generations. Notwithstanding the changes that society goes through and which are inevitable. But it's important to preserve the sense of the divine which accompanies us in our journey here on earth. And you all remember that on the night that Pope Francis was elected Pope 11 years ago, and he appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he greeted the people, and he ended his greeting with a request. He asked the people to pray for him and to bless him. Because even the Holy Father understands how important it is to be blessed, to be given an assurance of God's help and God's protection. It was a gesture of great humility and great faith that the Pope made in that circumstance. And in a way tonight, this is what I ask of you. I ask you to pray for me, to pray for my new mission in Cuba. It will be a challenging mission, like all missions are. I am fortunate enough to have worked in Cuba already. I know the country, I know the people, and it was a wonderful experience the first time around, and I'm sure it will be even this time around. But I still ask you to pray for me, because I have a great responsibility to carry out my mission over there. Pray for me and invoke God's blessing upon me, so that wherever I am throughout my life, wherever I am sent, whatever I am doing, I may be ready to do God's will. Thank you.
Excellency Archbishop Antoine Camileri, Your Excellency Abuna Muse, all priests here present, dear sisters and brothers in Christ, I'm here to thank in the name of the Ethiopian Catholic Bishops' Conference the work which His Excellency Abuna Camileri has done for the Bishops' Conference of Ethiopia. We have already thanked him as Bishops' Conference when he invited us for a beautiful lunch to the Nunciature, because at that time we thought it was a good opportunity that all the bishops were together. So we thanked him for the work he has done for nearly the last 5 years in Ethiopia. He has visited all the jurisdictions, starting with the difficult ones like the Eparchy of Adigrat and the Eparchy of Bahar Dar Desse, and also the Vicariate of Nagamte, where there are conflicts and difficulties. Visited also most of your own communities, your own houses, formation houses. And he encouraged the church in Ethiopia to continue its service to the people of Ethiopia in all the dedicated services, the social services which the church undertakes through the social activities of education, health, and social work. We are grateful for him because he has given his all, not only to Ethiopia, but also to Djibouti. He just returned from Djibouti, thanking the bishop there and the community there, the government, for their collaboration with the Holy See. The same in Somalia. Here in Ethiopia also, he has visited the president, the patriarch, the foreign ministry, because the Holy See or the Vatican or the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has such great love and good relation with all nations, with all peoples. So we thank him in the name of the Conference of Ethiopia and for the work he has done. And these days we have been celebrating the hard work which he has been doing for the Vicariate of Sordo. As you know now, we have a bishop-elect by the name of Bishop-elect Abadejane for Sordo. He has worked the hard work, and we will celebrate in his absence in September in Sordo. Recently, just 2 days ago, we have the good news of the election of the bishop-elect of the Vicariate of Nagamte, Abba Getahun. So this all hard work he has been doing for the last 5 years here in the presence of the Holy Father, Pope Francis. Still waits Hawassa, and we will wait for Hawassa, and with God's grace, we will also have a successor for the Bishop of Hawassa. We thank him for all these hard works and for the works he has done representing all of you, the religious communities, and also the lay faithful of Ethiopia. We know he is going to Cuba. As you know, Cuba and Ethiopia had long relations, especially during the communist time in Ethiopia. And they were here, many Cubans were here in Ethiopia, not only militarily, but also in the health services, in the hospitals here in Ethiopia. And when he goes to Cuba, we want to teach him one word, which the Cuban soldiers taught Ethiopians here, compañeros. We are compañeros, they were saying. We are companions. It's not easy, Cuba, but it's a Catholic country, a religious country. And even if it has so much challenges, it will be different from Ethiopia. But I want to assure our dear Archbishop Antoine Kamileri that all the prayers of the Ethiopian Catholic community will be with him as he starts his great service, his great pastoral responsibility in the name of the Holy Father in Cuba, in Havana. May God bless his new undertaking in Havana. Thank you for Ethiopia. Thank you from Ethiopia.
His Eminence the Cardinal thanked you on behalf of the bishops of Ethiopia, and also that will be communicated to the faithful through Catholic television. But also I would like also to thank you on behalf of the Catholic television viewers. At the beginning, when you started here, you gave us your word and also your mission in the future, what would be, and then in your speech you gave us also an insight into what your mission entailed in the last 5 years almost. So the people were very happy, the Catholic faithful, the clergy, the bishops, the religious, and now we had here a Thanksgiving Mass, farewell Mass with you. We are very happy about that. But also I wanted to express also our gratitude for the evangelization work which the Catholic TV is doing. You have been supporting us through your prayers, but also sometimes we had also an interview with you. So I wanted just to say thank you for that.
I would like to greet all the viewers of Catholic TV and wish them well, and say that I will be missing them and praying for all of them. And I would like to thank Catholic TV for its service to society here in Ethiopia and to the Catholic Church by getting out the Christian message, a message of peace, of reconciliation, of forgiveness, and of unity. And I think this is what is important for us as Catholics, to be at the service of society, of everybody, irrespective of who they are, which religion, which ethnicity they belong to. The concept of fraternity for us is very important. We are all brothers and sisters as human beings, first of all, and for those of us who are baptized, we are brothers and sisters in Christ. And for us, it doesn't matter who we are, where we come from. What matters is that we are all children of the same Father. And I think this is the message that we should give out to everybody. And I thank you for helping, for contributing in giving this service to the country and to the church. Thank you.
እናመሰግናለን።
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። ብፁዕ አንቷን አቡነ ካሚሌሪ እኛ የቅድስት መንበር ተወካይ ወይም የብፁዕ ወቅዱስ ርዕሰ ሊቃነ ጳጳሳት አቡነ ፍራንቺስኮስ አምባሳደር ወይም የቫቲካን አምባሳደር የምንላቸው ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ወደ የተቃረበው ወደ 5 ዓመት ቀርበው አሁን አገልግለው እየተቀየሩ ነው። የሚቀየሩትም ወደ ኩባ ሃቫና የሚባል አገር ነው እና በኢትዮጵያ በሰሩበትም ወቅት ትልቅ አገልግሎት ስለሰጡ እኛ በጳጳሳት ጉባኤ አማካኝነት በእውነቱ ብዙ አመስግነናቸዋል። ምክንያቱም ሁሉ ሀገረ ስብከት ጎብኝተዋል፣ ማህበራትን ጎብኝተዋል። በተለይ ደግሞ ጳጳሳት በሌሉባቸው አካባቢዎች እንደ አዋሳ፣ ሶዶ፣ ለቀምት ጎብኝተዋል። አሁን እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን የሶዶ አዲስ ጳጳስ ተሰይመውልናል። ክቡር አባ ደጀኔ ይባላሉ። እንዲሁም ደግሞ በቅርብ ጊዜ ለለቀምት ሀገረ ስብከት ተሰይመውልናል። ክቡር አባ ጌታውን ይባላሉ። የነዚህን ሁሉ ሁኔታ ከቅድስት መንበር ጋር በመሆን ተነጋግረው ነው እንግዲህ ጳጳሳትን የሚመድቡ ብፁዕ ወቅዱስ አቡነ ፍራንቺስኮስ ናቸውና እሳቸው እንዲሰይሙልን ያደረጉ አባት ናቸው። ይሄ ሁሉ ከጎበኙ በኋላ አሁን እንግዲህ ይቀየራሉ እና ጳጳሳት ጉባኤ ያመሰገኗቸው በችግር ቦታዎች ባሉ ቦታዎች ሁሉ ለምሳሌ በትግራይም ሆነ በባህር ዳር በለቀምት እየሄዱ በዛ አካባቢ ያሉትንም ምእመናን፣ ካህናት፣ ወንድሞች፣ ደናግል ሲያስተባብሩ ነበረ፣ አይዟችሁ ሲሉ ነበርና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን ይሄን አድርገው ሲሄዱ እኛ ዛሬ በመስዋዕተ ቅዳሴ በዚህ በመድኃኔዓለም ቤተክርስቲያን እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን ብለናቸዋል። እግዚአብሔር እንግዲህ በሚሄዱበት ቦታ ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር እሳቸውን እንዲባርካቸው የሚጀምሩትንም ስራ እንዲባርክ ጸሎት አድርጋለሁ።
እግዚአብሔር አምላካችን ቤተክርስቲያን በርዕሰ ሊቃነ ጳጳሳት በብፁዕ አቡነ ፍራንሲስ አማካይነት እንደዚሁም በሳቸው ተወካይ እዚህ በኢትዮጵያ በሰሩት በሊቀ ጳጳሱ አቡነ አንቷን ካሚሌሪ አማካይነት ስለሰራው ስራ እግዚአብሔርን እናመሰግናለን። እግዚአብሔር አምላካችን የምንሰጠው አገልግሎት ይባርክልን እና መልካም ቆይታ ይሁንልን።